WTF.
Here, here.
This was the biggest surprise of the night.
Oh, yeah.
He leaves his feet. Look out.
Gang, what's up? Aaron right here. Canadian Looney. Like, share, subscribe, get notified. We will be covering these crazy Canadian federal politics. Who saw that coming? No one saw this happening to Pierre in Quebec. Maybe some people did. This guy, Fanjoy. Woo! Hard to believe, man. What a weird time. Let's take a look at the guy that crushed Pierre Poilievre. Let's take a peek.
It is really hard to put lipstick on a pig.
Right, boss.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
The riding results. Here we go. This is Carleton. This was the biggest surprise of the night. Bruce Fanjoy, not just winning the riding with a lead of 4,315 votes over the man who at the beginning of the year was an inevitability to become the next Prime Minister of Canada, leading a Conservative government with more than 200 seats. Bruce Fanjoy got more than 50% of the vote.
All right, elbows up. Elbows up.
Watch the jump. He leaves his feet. Look how far off the ice it is.
Here, here.
In Pierre Poilievre's riding. And Bruce Fanjoy is here with me in the studio. It's good to see you, sir. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here.
When the stories came out in the final days of the campaign saying Pierre Poilievre was in trouble in his riding, really dumb people like me who host this show said they didn't think it was possible. But now the whole country knows it was. They know your name. When did you realize that you might win this?
I knew it was possible for a long time. I've been working at this for over 2 years, knocked personally on over 15,000 doors, had thousands upon thousands of conversations with voters in Carleton, and you get a good sense as to the mood of the riding. In that time, Pierre was largely absent, was doing very little in the way of engaging with Carleton. So whereas we were all over the riding and engaging with people, he had other priorities. And people felt taken for granted.
Well, in my experience in covering politics for over the decades now, people kind of understand when the leader needs to be away, right? Because he did have a reputation early, winning in 2004, of a good constituency man. But you've got to build a party, you got to recruit candidates, you got to fundraise. Was it just that, or were there other factors there?
It was a lot of factors. Certainly if you've accomplished things for the riding, or in the case of a leader, accomplished things for the nation. Voters will respect that. But Pierre Poilievre had 20 years of opportunity. 10 of those years were in government, and there's precious little to show for it. People were growing tired of American-style politics that they saw creeping over the border, and Pierre often practiced that type of politics. So we provided a positive alternative, and we were working hard in the riding, and when you do that day in, day out over 2 years, those numbers add up.
I wonder, Carleton it's outside of Ottawa, like the urban core of Ottawa, but it's an Ottawa area riding. The Convoy, when it occupied downtown Ottawa, I know Carleton may not have been affected directly by that, but people could have had to commute in there, might have friends in there. Was that a factor in this, do you think? Because, Mr. Poilievre supported them tonally, brought them donuts famously. Was that a factor in that riding?
It's yes, it was, but it was much more than that. It was just the negative, divisive American-style politics that people didn't want anything to do with. But I do know that that subject came up frequently, and frequently amongst people who had voted Conservative in the past. So.
What about one of the other issues? I know it didn't necessarily make a lot of headlines nationally, But there was an interview that Ian Brodie, the former chief of staff to the Prime Minister, he spoke at the Canada Strong and Free conference here, and he talked about how you could go fast. Pierre Poilievre, if elected, could go fast on reducing the size of the civil service and making big cuts in government, because this is a big civil service town. And I'm sure you have a lot of civil servants in your soon-to-be constituency of Carleton. I mean, was that a factor at the doors?
You know, people weren't specifically referring to Ian Brodie's comments, but
Liberals were circulating that, though, around the Ottawa ridings.
But no, I mean, civil servants, you know, they're smart, they work hard, and they understand that you know, the Liberal governments believe in the public service. We require public service to deliver programs to Canadians, and we will respect public servants and make sure that that the services that they provide to Canadians are uninterrupted. I mean, we're facing a moment with the U.S. administration, Donald Trump's tariffs and his hostility towards things like Canada's sovereignty. We need public servants to help our industries and our workers and our families and individual Canadians to weather this storm. So this was not the time to be cutting public servants. It's time to be respecting them and valuing what they bring to Canada.
You know, Mr. Fanjoy, normally in a riding like Carleton, where it is the leader of the opposition, where it is someone who's won multiple and is seen to be as one of the unbeatable members of Parliament, it's often a sacrificial candidate. You'll sometimes see a political staffer, you know, who's just on the ballot and not really out there. You wanted this fight. Like, you weren't just a name on the ballot, you were a presence at the doors, you know, for months and months and months. I've seen it on social media. And it wasn't that typical sort of throwaway campaign, right? Like, you went at this and you wanted this fight. Why did you want this so badly?
I felt that we were facing a historic election. I felt that 3 years ago, long before anyone contemplated a second term of Donald Trump.
Because you were the candidate there well before the tide turned the way when Justin Trudeau left and Mark Carney came in, right?
Yep. No, for me, it was, you know, this was not something I ever planned to be doing. It was something I thought, I believed needed to be done. And it's very hard to find someone to take on a task like challenging a leader like Pierre Poilievre. So I gradually talked myself into it. Partly because I couldn't imagine who else would want to do this this task, but you know, I personally just felt that he needed to be challenged and needed to be someone in Carleton.
So I know you say you always felt you could win this, but I don't think you were winning this seat on day one of this election, right? If the vote had happened that day, maybe it wouldn't have happened. But as it went on, there started to be noise, and you know, I've heard that there was a single day where you raised $12,000, another single day where 2,200 Liberal votes got ID'd. The war room surged like 30 people to the riding to help you make the closing argument. Was it the advance poll period where you kind of knew you had a real shot there? Because it seems like you did very well there. And then with the end support and surge in resources, you just locked it down?
It began long before that.
Yeah?
Long before that. We've been building a foundation. The number of people that believed in this campaign were joining this campaign. We're creating the conditions for what was to come. And when the writ dropped, we had in the first week we had over 500 volunteers join the campaign. These were people, ordinary people in our community, most of them from Carleton, many of them from the National Capital Region, and some from further. And it was all people who recognized that this was the most important election of our lifetimes. And in Carleton, we had a unique and remarkable opportunity to choose a better path forward for Canada. So these were ordinary Canadians who had never volunteered for a political party before, went canvassing for the first time, put signs up for the first time, donated for the first time. That's the story, and we couldn't have done it without all of those folks. They made this happen, and I'm extremely proud of them.
Well, you know, Bruce Fanjoy, in all my years covering politics, I've met a lot of people who gave a lot of excuses of why they wouldn't get into the fight until the circumstances were perfect. You are not that person. You took on the tough fight, and you pulled it off. Congratulations on your win in Carleton, and thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hello there, my noble, strong fellow Canadian. If you are watching this film strip, then no doubt Canada is in grave danger.
Oh, yeah.
All right, gang, we're going to wrap it up right there. Is Pierre Poilievre done? Leave it in the comments what you think. Which direction are the Conservatives going to head in?
Our guests are arriving on time, to the second.
They always do. And you always act like it's a miracle.
My dear Tattoo, when each guest is paying $50,000 for a 3-day stay on Fantasy Island, he or she deserves miracles.
Right, boss.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
After this, has an opinion about humiliating defeat. Like, they did okay in the election, but they still lost, and he lost his seat. Poilievre, like, I like Poilievre. Not trying to kick a guy when he's down, but what a big loss. Like, anticlimactic, guys. Well, it'll get exciting here coming up.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Comrades, our nation is completely bankrupt. We have no choice but to abandon communism. I know, but we all knew from day one this mumbo-jumbo wouldn't fly. I'll call Washington and tell them they won. But Presidente, America tried to kill you. They're not so bad. They even named a street after me in San Francisco. It's full of what?
Elbows out. Elbows up.
Politics is dirty, guys. Again, I was just hoping for the Conservatives in this one. It didn't go our way. On to the next. Sucks, though.